So as I mentioned in our previous video, the last thing for me to do, or the next thing for me to do rather, is just to put the roof on. We'll do front and back. So what I'm going to do is I'll just take this object here, which is the main house, and I'll right click and I'll isolate that. Okay. Then we'll come to one of our 4 views. Let's say this one. There we go. What I'm going to show you here is a very neat little trick. Okay, what I'm going to need is I'm going to need the shapes switched on. There we go. Now we've got a little bit of soffitting here, so we'll worry about that later. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a line, corner and corner, as and when it comes up and ready. Come on, I think it's doing an autosave at the moment. There we go. And I'll do that from about there, and I'll stretch it up to about here. Okay. So we'll take that line, and I'll go to segment, and I'll select the segment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, where is it? I'm looking for divide. There we go, divide. I'm going to divide that, I don't know, 20 times. You have to type, remember, type the number in first, press divide. Don't press divide and then type a number in. Wrong way around. Number, then divide. Oh, there we go. Now, each one of these, could probably gone for more than 20 to be honest with you, but there you go. Each one of those, I am actually going to chamfer. So you're going to come in here and we're going to chamfer these apart a little way. Then we'll come back. And then I'll select every single vertex, because now some of them have become Bezier vertices, so we're not really interested in that. And I'll right click and I'll make them corner. Now comes the painful bit. What you want to do is take every single one of these top 2 of the pairs. You notice that I've kept them fairly close together, so they're easy to spot. They're just tricky to select. There's no simple way of doing this. There's no shortcut way of doing this. What I'm doing here with this selection, really, you've just got to get in and feel the pain. Really, go to the move tool. What I'll do is I'll just, there we go. Just pull that up at a right angle. That's given me a basic shape of a roof there. So if I now go to my spline segment and I use my outline tool that I've used before, and what I'm going to do with that is I will outline down. There we go. Now what I might need to do is what I've got here, because these haven't quite worked out right. In fact, reselect all of them. Make sure that all of them are corner vertices. I might want to take these and just pull those up slightly to there. There we go. Now I realise I'm not exactly following what that roof says, but then to be honest with you, this is marketing material. I don't want it to be too perfect. And I'll probably put that about there. Don't forget, we're going to put a rounded top on that. Even though the architect hasn't bothered to draw that, there is going to have to be a rounded piece of guttering over the top of there. So now we've got that drawn in profile. I can come back here. There you see. And I'm going to apply onto this line an extrude modifier. So there's my extrude modifier. And let's have a look. There's the amount. Actually, I quite like that to be a positive number, so I'm going to say that was probably one too many zeros, wasn't it? There we go. We'll start with that, and I'll move it all the way over to this side of the building. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do as well. Actually, no, I'll leave them on. I was going to put the splines on a layer and turn that layer off, but I can't be bothered now. So I'll make that poke out just a little way over to the side there. and I'll increase my amount of my extrude. Yeah, that works for me. Yeah, I'm about as happy with that as I'm going to be. What I might do is in this view, I just come down to my line, to my vertices. I'll show the end result, but I might just take those vertices and just pull them out slightly. I know that's not particularly orthodox, but really what I'm looking to do is just have this hide any errors on my part and really just get stuff to overlap. And by getting it to overlap, we're going to sort of hide any joins. It's really all that builders do, to be honest. So, coming back to our extrude, deselect vertices, go to the extrude. I might put a few segments in here just to break it up a little bit, so it's not quite so obvious. Try and make it look more like the shape that tiles might be. There you go. So fairly big slate tiles, but nonetheless it's kind of going to give you an idea of what tiles should look like. And again, I will put my material onto that, and I'm going to make a mirror image of that, and I'll use the offset tool here. Just really going to be quite a large offset. There we go. Just playing around with that. There you go. That'll do me. So now my house, this is the fun bit. We can grab that, we can take that, and what I'm going to do is, probably in 4 views, I'm going to extrude by local normal. I'll extrude that up, just there, and then I'm going to take that face and that face, and I'm going to extrude that out. See, that's nice. Maybe not quite as much as that, but just probably about there. Very slightly more. There we go. That'll do. Perfect. And then I'll take... Oh! That's unfortunate. I'll have to go back in and correct that in a minute. I'll take this and I'll extrude that up. See, I thought I'd extruded that up, but apparently I hadn't. I'd forgotten that the house was in 2 halves. That's irritating. You see here, I'm just going to pull that extrusion in a little bit. Just so that the tiles are poking out over the edge. There we go, that's fantastic. That's exactly what I wanted to see. And with this one, I might just move that back slightly so the tiles are doing the same again. There we go. That's great. And I might just take that face, pull it up fractionally. Yeah, or just not. Ah, now, here we go. Comedy piece of geometry here. Looking at this house, this surface here, which by extension means that one, that needs to come in. You can see where the red's poking out. What we need to do is just pull it in so the red doesn't poke out at all. There you go. And we'll do the same here. It's just very small movements. I might be able to get it to we'll use the offset. Oh. Just tiny little movements I'm doing there. There you go. Okay, so just having a look at that. Now, comedy moment is this one. See, look. What I am going to have to do with this is come back to my segments of my line, and I'm going to have to bin a whole load of segments here. And I'm going to bin that segment, and I'm going to take this vertex here and I'm going to put it onto that vertex there, and then I'm going to have to weld these. There we go, and I'll take off my 3D snap, and what I'm now going to do from, you can see this view here, is I'm just going to put that there, and I'll take this and pull it here. So not quite as bad as I thought it might be. It will of course mean that I will have to take these two bits of geometry and I'll need to extrude them out, again by local normal. They can come out, pardon me, to about there. Oh, you know what, it really should have been that. I'll sort out those dodgy corners in a minute because it does look very dodgy, doesn't it? And that, so we'll okay that. And I think probably just pull it up inside. Yeah, that's better. And I'll have to take this vertex here. Just pull that more in line. Now I know these aren't matching up perfectly. I appreciate that. What I also appreciate is the fact that this is marketing material. This is not an engineering drawing. It's going to be good enough. There we go. For us to just sort of pull stuff together. Because really, this is also the back of the house, and we're not doing any more detail than that on the back of the house, because we're only getting paid to do the view from the front. So the one that we really want to pay attention to is this one here. So I'll make sure that this sits up in line there. There we go. And it sits in line here. See, there we go again. Let's check this side as well. That all looks good. So I'll now select that face, that one, and that one. And let's zoom all of those and look in here. For those of you who think that this looks a little bit confusing, I'm afraid it's just something you're going to have to get used to. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. That doesn't look too bad. I can almost forgive that. Okie dokie. So that's the, if we just hide the shapes for the moment and isolate that, you can see this is really starting to take shape now with that roof. So that's how we do the front roof section. We've then got one section to do here for this object. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate that one and I'll look at it in all four views, and I'm going to do exactly the same procedure as I did before. So I'm going to take a line here, one there. Now, that kind of worries me a little bit. Let's just see, because I'm not fussed about being 210% exact, but that was a little bit off the mark, wasn't it? Let's just go to my move tools here, and let's just move this along a little bit. There we go. You've got to have something, haven't you? Let's just check. Yeah, the same problems happened over here as well. Not that I'm that bothered by this side, to be honest with you. I'm just going to delete that. It's going to irritate me otherwise. So, I'll just get rid of them as well. Then I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so that side fits perfectly. And I am now going to just grab some of these, and I'll right click and I will hide selection. So when I talk about this, I've got this line here and this object here, and I'm just going to isolate them. And I'll take this line and I'll move it back to where it was before. And I'm going to do exactly what I did with the main roof section on this. I'll come to segment, I'll select it, I will divide it perhaps only 12 times this time. Yeah, it's not bad. Select all of those and I'll just chamfer them briefly. Ooh. Grab all of those and right click and make that a corner. So we'll select all of these dots now. There we go. And I'll very carefully just pull those over. And with the segment selected, I will exit isolation mode and I will unhide all as well, because what I want to make sure is that actually that line, as I've rather stupidly done, is in the right place, and it's not. You see there? That wasn't very clever. So what I'm going to have to do is take a bunch of segments, say here, turn on my 3D snap, and do that, which is going to save me a little bit of face if nothing else. I'll put that in here and I'll make sure that these get welded as well. Very important to make sure this gets welded. There we go, and convert that to a corner. And then right down at the bottom here. Okay, that works. So my spline will now become an outline. So we'll pull that back. Yep, that'll do. And in my 3D view, I'll grab that and I'll move that just slightly out. Oh, there we go. We'll actually match it with the drawing for once. And I'll apply an extrude to that. Now obviously it doesn't need to be quite as much as that. Let's just make that 3000, shall we? Okay, so we'll take that right into the building. Okay, doesn't necessarily need to be 25 segments. 12 will be fine. Now what you'll notice is that some of that is intersecting with the side of the house. So what I'm now going to do is I'll now add a freeform deformation 2x2 box on there. Grab hold of the control points, and I'll grab hold of these two control points, and I'm just going to slide them back a bit to about there. Wonderful things, freeform deformation boxes. There we go. And I can pop possibly even take that a little bit further and move it all the way to here. And then maybe that's a little bit far. I think maybe there. And that should be fine, control points. Yeah, that should be fine. I think maybe my extrude, I'll reduce all those segments down to 1. There we go, that's easier. Doesn't look quite as strange then. And once I've done that, I'll make a mirror of it. And I'll mirror that maybe in X, there we go, and we'll make an offset. Not that I can be bothered to do it properly, so I'll just drag the offset. And we'll make sure that this kind of lines up at the very least. There we go. So now I'll select both of those, go to my materials editor and apply a material. There we go, just a standard slate grey. And I'll do the same trick with this section of the building I did before by just taking that bit of the roof and extruding it up. Again, by local normal. So there we go, that's going up into the roof. And then these two sections will come out as well, but not so far they don't allow the tiles, just a little bit of leeway. There we go. And it's the lovely little things like that that add the detail into what you're doing. Oh, forgot to click OK. There we go. Just pull that back slightly, and again I'll probably need to deal with that. Yeah, we'll have to deal with that a little bit later, but I'll certainly deal with this section. That's not too much bother. Click OK, and then we've got that and that. Now these sections here, what I'm going to do is I'll just pull that in slightly. Yeah, I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll just take this edge. It's really the edge I'm interested in. Pull that down. That's better. This lower edge was going to cause me a lot of bother otherwise. And I'll extrude that out, and I'll just extrude it a little way. There we go. So as I say, it's just those little things that are really going to help sort of bring what you've done alive. So there we go. There's the roof section. Oh, before I forget, we need to concern ourselves with what's going on here. Now, I think I am possibly going to have to take a couple of these vertices just here and pull that along. There you go, you see? You can hide a multitude of sins like that. And I'll even take the whole of that side section, and I'm going to hide that just a little just in there. There we go. That is perfect. Yeah. Now, that little bit for the house. Yeah. Well, actually, we'll come back and we'll worry about that later. But yes, because it probably won't show if we do the right angle. We might just get away with that. A little bit sloppy, but there you go. Okay, so that's the roof section. Moving on, what we're going to do next is there's a little bit of roofing here and some guttering to do. So I guess what I ought to do now is to take this section, all its entirety, and shift and drag it along. Actually, it's not going to be a drag, it's going to be a mirror. Because, and before I mirror that, I should probably group it to get it to mirror properly. Oops. One of those groups is coming with me. Now, question was, did I do that properly? I don't think I did. No copy. let's mirror it about, not about y, about x. I guess I'm going to kind of only really find out about that until I do this. Ah, it seems to fit okay. So we're not going to argue about that too much. See, that's quite close to the edge though. But that comes out more than... Okay, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do that. And I'll ungroup. And as needs must, I'll take these two vertices and I'll just pull them in. And again, I'll take these, just pull in there. So there we go. That's the roof sections on. Actually, it's not quite all the roof sections because there's a couple of things to do yet. I've just noticed this probably needs to come in there, and that can come in there, and again we'll ungroup this, and I'll just put that down on there. So when you're doing work, you're constantly sort of looking at this and assessing it and saying, did I actually get that right or not? Okay, so that's good with that. Next thing we probably want to do with these, now that we've got those roof sections in, is just pop a quick cylinder. Let's take off the auto grid. Pop a quick cylinder in here. And all will become apparent as to what I'm doing in a moment. Okay, what we're doing is first of all we're filling in this gap, which is kind of important. So I'm going to make my height go all the way back there, and I'll take out the number of height segments as well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert that to an editable polygon, and I'm going to grab, I would say conservatively speaking, the top half here. And from that, I'm going to do a little extrude by local normal. So I'll do that out. There we go. Now, really, what I need to do is I need to pull in maybe one or two more there, and one or two more here. That's good. That works. And click OK. Now, this is where it all gets a little bit weird, because I'm going to take these and pull them back. How that works actually. And then I'll take these faces here. Now there are numerous ways that we could select these. I'm doing it by hand, and I'm going to extrude those out very, very slightly as well. Okay. Now there is another section that should go on top of that, but I think for the moment that will be fine. Okay, materials editor, chuck a material onto that. And we'll pull this across here. Okay, that's good. So I'll just realign that properly. Maybe pull it up fractionally. And because of that, I will double check this one. Yeah, that needs to come up just slightly as well. Okay, so I'm going to make a copy of this object. And I'm going to rotate it through 90 degrees. And I'll drop it over the top. Oh, God. Drop it over the top here of this part of the roof. Again, we'll just align that properly. There you go. And because I want that to be... There we go. I know that's going to look a little bit odd with it sticking out over the top there, but yeah, we'll just live with that. what I want to do now is I want to do a symmetry. Kind of want the symmetry to go the other way. No, I want it to go the other way. That's it. And with the symmetry, I'm going to take the mirror plane and I'm going to kind of drag it this way for as far as I possibly can until I pretty much break this. Okay, so let's put it back together again. And then I'll right click and convert that to an edit polygon. And all I'll do is I'll take these vertices and I'll pull them out to the end. So notice as well, I'm constantly looking and evaluating and moving around the object. There we go, so I'll select this. Now I've seen that I can see a little bit of clean air in there, so what I might try doing is a quick cheat where I'm going to take one edge, just pull it up very fractionally, there we go. Yeah, there's that roof. This roof needs to be rotated ever so fractionally. Yep, you know what, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's got that bit of roof. That's good. So again here I will take nothing, because that should work. Good. So we've got a nice little house turned up here, haven't we? It's looking like it's got quite a bit of detail in there. I'm reasonably happy with that so far. We've still got a little bit of extra work to do on it, so we'll stop this section of the video here and we'll move on with the rest of the modelling in a moment.